And unfortunately, much of that sand was taken away, I guess, for development in maybe Magic Island or Waikiki or something. And I'll also tell you that the road used to be mauka of where it is now. And that, and that really protected all the sand at the beach. And I guess it was when Farrington Highway was built, I guess by the state, I'm not sure, that it was put down the center of the beach. And this really, really upset, the community. And so to this day, the community has advocated very strongly to put the highway back to where it used to be. And which is much, if you've been there, there's a canoe halau for Makaha Canoe Club. And the city owns all that land where the canoe halau is and behind it. And we have the highway rerouted behind that to be much safer than it is now. In my testimony, I did some research and talked about how in 2007, there was a big incident where the city removed one of the showers that's on the beach side of the highway. And the community was in a big uproar over that because, they said for the paddling teams and all the kids that surf and everything, they're gonna now not have that shower, have to cross the highway to get there. And so because of all the media attention, the city did replace that shower, and the community also helped to make that happen as well. And then there's a study that DLNR did in 2010, and that study, I linked it in my testimony. That study talks about how because of the erosion that happens every winter, that they recommend that you actually have to push sand every summer to stop what happens. If you've ever been there in the winter, the sand gets so far eroded that the highway is like almost about to cave in, and some of the trees and everything. And it's really dangerous. If you park your car, you look at there's like a drop off down to where the beach is. And the study talks about how one of the things that would really help prevent this is moving the highway and a lot of the infrastructure that was put down the center of the beach. And then another thing that I cite is that in 2011, twice, I was involved in helping to organize some of the sand pushing. And the first one was in February, and we had to get private companies to come out there to do it because the city lacked resources. And then later in 2011, the city had to do it again to push the sand to stop the erosion. And then this year, as Councilwoman Pine is very much a Representative Jordan, the community is in a huge uproar over the state project to fix the bridges at Makaha, right before the Circuit Beach. And a lot of it is driven by, the concern that, is this going to then prevent the highway from being realigned? And then the communities, there's sign waivers that happen, there's a petition that's signed, there's a website. This is how passionate the people are in my community about getting the highway moved to mauka. So I really appreciate Councilwoman Pine for getting this on the agenda, and I really urge you to support this agenda item, this study. Let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you very much. Members, questions?
Senator, so I noticed in your testimony you briefly mentioned that in 2010 DLNR conducted a study and they concluded that it was really the highway that was one of the causes of the natural erosion. And so this is why some groups are saying, this really just isn't about a road or a park. This is really about saving Hawaii's natural resources. It is eroding because of what government did in their planning. Is that something that's being reflected when you go back to your community?
Oh, big time. And in fact, what's really great about this study is if you read it, it talks about how a lot of the erosion that's happening at beaches across our whole state is because of man-made interventions. And so as many of you know, a lot of the seawalls that had grandfathered in places like Kahala, places like that. Now with science, we realize that has really harmed our beaches. And so now at the legislature and probably at the city level too, we have a lot of bills that are aimed at doing beach nourishment. There's one for Ka'anapali this session you've probably seen it, Sharon. And there's one for Eva Beach, I think I saw. And we're spending millions of dollars on, putting sand back into beaches that are being eroded because of these types of man-made infrastructure we put in. And so, yeah, it really goes to the heart of our whole, our taxpayer dollars how they're being spent, our tourism industry. I mean, this is the crown jewel of the community in Makaha. And if we were to lose this beach, I mean, we would lose a huge part of what makes Hawaii, Hawaii, and the tourism industry and stuff. So, Yeah, it's, you know, it really is something that I think it's gonna cost money, I'm sure, but in the long run, if it can save this beach and be an example for other beaches, it can really help our economy overall, our tourism industry.
Thank you, Senator.
Any other questions? Representative?
Hi, Senator, thank you for being here and thank you for your testimony. Senator, you mentioned the ailing bridges in Makaha, and that it continues to be an issue. Could you just clarify exactly, I mean, if this is a health and safety issue, I'm confused as to why the community would be upset about the department wanting to go in and address those ailing bridges.
It's because the, and Glenn can, Director Okimoto is very familiar with this issue too. I guess what it is there's just so much, what the 1997 master plan says that the city put out is that yes, the bridges are needed obviously to cross over the stream to Keeley Drive, but that the bridges in that 1997 plan were going to be moved further mauka so that the whole highway and the bridges would all be aligned. And so this action that's costing, I think, around $23 million or whatever, people are seeing it as a huge waste of money and saying, well, why don't you guys go, you know, fine, fix the bridges, but put it mauka where it's supposed to be to realign the highway, rather than sticking it where the highway is now.
But what would be the cost then to realign those bridges?
Well, the thing is, you know,
Maintenance for safety.
yeah, and that's where we're trying to show that it's two separate issues because, you know, as Director Okimoto has pointed out correctly, that actually that would be very difficult because that to put it further mauka is going onto private property, be encroaching on like Keeley Drive, which is privately owned by HRT company. And so actually, I think that the bridges need to start where they are now, you know. And so, so that's why I'm so happy that you're considering this, because if we can show the community it's two separate things, you know, that just because we put the bridges in doesn't mean we're not going to get the highway realigned. I think that would allay a lot of the fears that are going around. And people, I think, too, are afraid that if you spend this money on the bridge, then you won't have the money to realign the highway. You know, but one thing Director Okimoto is trying to point out is that the bridges are a state project and the realignment would be a city into city land. So I think that's a lot of the why people are scared of it.
Thank you for the clarification. Thank you, John.
Senator?
Thank you, Chair. And the distance from the current to the proposed is how far?
Pretty far. I'm not good with math and stuff, but I'd say, I don't know, do you know, Glenn, what, the highway right now, versus proposed, oh, Al's here.
And we have the map.
How much distance is that? I'd say,
Well, the current highway is about right here, and we're just talking about going around the wetlands on the Mauka side. So, you know, obviously, the same spot here, but maybe an eighth of a mile deep.
that sounds about, yeah.
But that's city and county land, isn't it?
And that is park land.
That's
This
city
is
and county park land.
City and county
Yeah.
park land.
Where's the private road or property you're talking about?
This is Keeley Drive here. So we'd have to either get eminent domain or something, I guess. I don't know, Al might be able to explain it better, but that's my understanding is that if we were to move the bridges mauka, the mauka side is all privately owned. So I'm not sure how we do that.
It's city and county.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, look at
At
the,
this point, yeah, I don't want to get into discussion at this point. Actually, I should just clarify too. I think there is agreement that these are two separate issues, the bridges replacement and the mauka alignment. So just want to be clear that the bridge replacement issue is not on today's agenda. So for everybody who is testifying, I just want to say that through the Sunshine Law, you know, we cannot start discussion on the bridge issue, and we just want to take testimony from the senator so she can get back to her very important work. So any further questions for Senator?
I just want to thank the Senator and Representative Jordan, who's worked on this issue for a long time, and I'm kind of the new kid of the area, but as I read more about this issue and how even the Army Corps of Engineers said that you need to reroute Farrington and Mauka to prevent erosion of the beach, I was really concerned as a leader that we have never taken this very seriously, and I just want to thank both of you for doing such a great job of fighting for the community, reminding us of these many studies that have recommended this a long time ago. Thank you.
Thank you, and hopefully get to see Sam Lemel's testimony too from DLNR. He's also in strong support of this measure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.